We're It's November. Everybody's getting ready for their Thanksgiving. Let me just say this to you early. Listen, there's going to be rough times in this coming year. I'm not getting into all the conspiracy theories and all this other stuff, but I'm just saying expect to have some rough times this year, so be moderate with your Thanksgiving. Listen, you can still do it up with your families and have your get-togethers, but I would advise not to really go too overboard and go crazy if it's not needed, right? I would just watch your pockets. But with that said, a lot going on, and let's get right to it. So, Jada Pinkett, her book has dropped, and she did no numbers. It went brick. In music world, it's a flop. Are we shocked? Now, I'm not saying that I'm wishing. I hope that this would happen. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is all the things that we've said over time, seeing her behavior, seeing the things she's been saying. It is clear that obvious. Nobody can. Now people are going to say, "Oh well, it's still early and it has time." No, nobody cares. People have been saying it we're tired of hearing her. What more could she say in this book that she hasn't already said and has already addressed, right? What are you going to talk more about, getting more details about embarrassing your husband with the August Alsina stuff? More details about you and your husband's situation, which we really care nothing about. More fairy tales and fables about you and Tupac. I mean, like nobody really cares. Nobody at all. I'm through with it. I have been for a long time. If you follow me on Instagram, you will see I went a little mini viral with a video where she proved what I said to be right, what I thought she was going to say, and it was, to me it was it was plain to see. For some it wasn't, and then when I said it, then they understood what it was. And just uh, a quick thing about what I said was, when the slap happened with Will Smith and Chris Rock, I said I didn't want to hear from Will Smith. I didn't want to hear an apology from Will Smith. I didn't want to hear an apology or whatever from Chris Rock, because people at the time were saying, well, Chris Rock shouldn't have spoke on, crack jokes on Jada Pinkett and blah, blah, blah. And he's been cracking jokes on her for a while. She's been the butt of his jokes for a long time. Will Smith should have never put hands on him. Whatever he had going on internally, he took it out on this frailer guy and blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. I said in my post that I didn't really want to hear from it. I wanted to hear Jada's point of view. And Jada comes off to me, and let me stop. Jada Pinkett comes off to me as the kind of female she's proven. I've seen this type of woman before. Let me say it like that. I'm gonna try to be as polite as possible. I've seen this type of woman before. She doesn't shock me in any way, right? I've spun the block a few times, and I've come across this type of woman where it's and I know I've told this story before on another pod or whatever, but there's been a few situations, right, where something has happened, and myself and others came to the aid of a lady in distress. And as we were coming over to help in aid from her abusive significant other. I don't remember. I don't know if it was actual spouse, boyfriend. I don't know what the situation was with them relationship wise, but it was to the point where it was violent. And myself and others felt the need to help. And when we got over there to help, her words were, "Get your hands off of him before I call the police on y'all." And from that, it was like, okay, you don't have to tell me twice. All right, whatever this abuse is that's going on, hey, that's on you, right? Which is why, and there's been a few instances of that, not just one, which also led me to the thing where, there's only so much I'm willing to get involved with those kind of situations. I've seen them far too many times, and it has turned out to be for the worse, where it would end up I'm trying to lend a helping hand, it ends up being detrimental to me, right? So with that being said, that's that. So the thing with Jada, I kind of expressed that's who she comes off as that kind of woman, and she proved me to be right. So I said she seems like she will say that she's a grown woman, and well, she's a woman, and she doesn't need anybody to come in her defense. And shortly thereafter, she put out a release saying almost word for word what I said she was going to say. If you didn't see the video, you know what I mean, I'll see if I can clip it in. If not, go to my Instagram, Big Bass Reds on Instagram, and you'll see the post there, right? But with that said, nobody really cares about the book at all. We're over it. We're over her. We're over her antics. You had the red table. Now, I can't tell you how to parent. I can't tell anybody how to parent. But during that red table, there were conversations. I can't say that I've sat and watched all of the red tables. No, I have not. But the ones that I did see, the clips that I did see, there were conversations happening at that table between Jada Pinkett, her mom, and her daughter that I felt, me personally, as a father, as a parent of three, that I felt, and it's not just being overprotective parent, and I'm pretty open with my kids, so just put that out, that I don't think was appropriate for her daughter to be sitting at that table with women. There was times that I seen clips, and I could see when they had guests at the table, you could see, like, they're having conversations, and you could see it on the guest's face, like, I don't know if I feel comfortable with this child being at the table, because that's what she is, especially, like I said, I can't tell people how to parent, and I don't want to get into specifics, because then it would sound like it's hate. And I'm not hating, I don't really care. But my opinion is there were conversations there. Also, my opinion is from what is gathered online and just having conversations, people are over the whole Jada Pinkett thing. Then she's talking about she sold crack. Where did that come from? Like enough is enough. We've had it up to here with your antics. This is what it seems like to me, right? Excuse me, let me take a sip of some water. This is what it seems like to me. It seems like, she keeps throwing this Tupac thing in Will Smith's face every chance she gets. Oh, I never really wanted him, and blah, 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 and, he wasn't my first choice, this, that, and the third, but, right. All fine and dandy, and, it was really all about you and Tupac. All right, listen, let's be completely honest. Let's be complete. And there's a young lady that was on TikTok and broke down the whole timeline, and you know basically unfolded that a lot of the stories she was coming up with have to be false because her timelines are not matching up for some of the storylines that she's giving with the interaction between her and Tupac. Shout out to that young lady. Don't remember her name. I would have to look it up, but people who saw it will know. If not, look it up. Girl debunks Jada Pinkett story. You'll see it. She did excellent job, I think, and had facts and no opinions. That's the kind of content that I like. But we she's kind of like it's more than just dragging. It's almost like feels like you're almost hating on your husband a little bit, right? Because here's the thing: you met your husband, you know, towards the end. Well, let me not say the end because he was still rapping and stuff, but he was transitioning into more of the acting more than staying with the rapping with the music. He did music afterwards, yes, but when you met him, he was in that transition. You were becoming the household name at the time. You had the movies or whatever. It kind of feels like you always felt like you're the actor and he's the musician. And then when he transitioned, this part is my opinion. This is not fact. This part is completely my opinion. Kind of feels like you turned around and started feeling like, he's in your lane and you should be the star, right? And it comes off like resentment kind of thing. Like, yeah, you did what was the last real big movie that she had? That the one where Neo and she was the pilot, whatever that thing was. But is Jada Pinkett a household name? Yes, we can't take that away from her. Is she a box office star? By no means necessary. No, by no means at all. She's not. Is she in the same tax bracket when it comes to acting as her husband? No, not even close. You're talking about somebody who is in the lines, and just keep in mind he's a man of color, who is in the same lines as with Tom Cruise and these people who are the highest paid actors ever, and your husband is one, and you have resentment. But Jada Pinkett has resentment behind that. I truly believe that. My opinion, who knows? I could be wrong. I'm not there, but that's how it's perceived. That's how it comes off. Like you hate the fact that your husband is the box office star and you're not. And it's not to say that you're not talented. I would not lie and say that you're not a talented actress. I think you are a talented actress. I just don't think you're a high box office talented actress. Right? Now, let's keep it all the way 100. You know, Halle Berry, you could say, oh well, it's Halle Berry, her looks or whatever. Halle Berry, of course, every man, every woman would say Halle Berry's a gorgeous woman. But behind that look is a ton of talent. We've seen this woman play 1,000,001 different roles. And you forget about the looks. You're completely enthralled with the character she's playing, right? So you you can't just say, "Oh, it's just about Halle Berry's looks." You, on the other hand, I'm not saying that she is not pleasing to the eye. I would never say that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that she's no Halle Berry. Not in looks, not in talent, right? You, I watched an interview one time, and it was the two of you, and you you try to throw him under the bus, but in a savvy way, talking about, oh, he's so cheap. Oh, he doesn't like to spend, and blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, you live in one of the most beautiful houses in the hills of California, right? Beautiful house. You have enough room that you turned around, because that same interview, if it wasn't the same interview, was the one right after, and when they were showing the house, and he said they showed where you cornered off a whole part of the house to turn it into a movie studio, right? This broke man. I mean, well, I say the broke man, but this cheap man allowed you to do that, and people were like, "Oh, you allow." Listen, if y'all want to get hung up on words and be uber sensitive, that's on y'all. I'm not changing my words for nothing. Allow, allow. I'm gonna say it again. Allow, because without her, she wouldn't have had that house. Let's remember, out of her own mouth, she said, when he finalized his divorce and called her up and was like, "Yo, we're dating now," she jumped on the first thing smoking to go to him in L.A. and it never changed her mind again, right? So, and if he was that cheap and that whatever and this that and that and all these things, then why stay? Why stay? Go back to wherever you came from. Get it on your own. You had a lot of doors open for you because you were the wife of a box office star. Keep it on it. Your name was still being called because you were. All right, let me stop. Because this whole pod is not going to be, this whole episode is not going to be about Jada Pinkett. They got bigger and better. Let me not say better, because the next thing I want to touch on is, it's a sad topic, but there's parts of it that should and need to be addressed, right? But on closing with the Jada Pinkett thing, yeah, the book went brick, as we all knew or expected. Nobody's and please don't tell me that somebody's trying to do a movie or a doc on your life. Nobody wants to see that. I'm telling you now, don't reach out to Netflix. We don't want to hear about it. It would go sell less than the 2,000 or whatever your book sold, right? Let's just leave that alone. Go back in your corner, go back into your movie studio and go deal with that. And great. Now we're done with that, right? So we're in the month of November, and if you're not in the New York area, you might have seen it online, or I don't know, I don't know if it'll be on your local news channel, but it was circulating online, and I'm sure everybody saw, in New York, Brooklyn specifically, in the projects, Vanderveer projects, a man and his son were killed, shot by another assailant, shot by another man, in the building over, I guess, a dispute about noise. The storyline is still up in the air. I've looked it up. I'm seeing multiple stories, so I can't give you an honest answer of what caused the. Some are saying that it was that it was the man was having issues with noise in the people's apartment, but that story, it's not factual yet. So I'm hearing different things, and I don't want to spread a false a rumor. So, but the fact is that this man and his son were killed by another man. If you saw the video, and I will not, I thought about it, and I, respect. I mean, it's around online enough. I think for people who are involved, like other family, the families of, of that family with those losses and friends, I don't think it would be in the best interest to clip that into this and show it again and have them relive it. They're probably reliving it every day online on their own personal socials. So I'll verbally give you what was what was shown. It starts with a man in a hallway near a staircase. He's across from the doorway, probably, I want to say maybe 20, 30 feet away or whatever, and he's arguing with the closed door. This is how the video starts. So don't know if anybody was outside prior to that or whatever, but the video starts from there. It seems like the wife came out. They have words. Then the husband or boyfriend, whatever he was, he comes out. The son comes out. The guy and the guy who was originally arguing with the husband comes over, but he has a scissors in his hand. It's very close-fisted. A lot of people were unsure in the beginning because it looked like he just had a fist, but no, he did have a pair scissors in his hand. And the scissors had like a little white handle. He didn't go to stab the man or anything, but he had it to his face, and the two of them were having words. You could tell the words were escalated. At some point, the guy did show tap, like he had a gun on him. In the midst of them arguing, the wife goes to pull the husband away, which turns him around. He turns back and he's like, yo, you could tell like he's saying something like along the lines like, go inside, I got this, whatever. Turns back, she pulls again, he turns around. By this time, when the guy turns back around, when the husband turns back around, the guy has, pulled the gun from his waist. He's pointing at them. The husband's now pushing his wife towards back to the house. The son is still in the hallway watching it. And the son, I forgot the age of the son, but, he looked grown. I would say that. He wasn't like a baby or anything. He was a kid. His age, not sure, because even that was like up in the air online. But as he was pushing the wife in the house, the guy shot him like 2-3 times in the back. And then the son, I think, in panic mode, I don't think he was running towards the guy. He was running. He just took off running because the bullets are going towards the father and the son is in that direction. So I think he was just trying to run to get out of the lane of shots. And the guy just, pointed a gun and shot the son more than a few times. And then proceeded, the husband made it to the doorway. The wife made it in the house. She closed the door, and the guy walked over and put another shot in the husband. And then, quietly tucked his gun away and waited for the elevator, which I thought was insane. The whole situation is just a nasty situation, horrible situation. There's rumors that the guy was a ex-correction officer, and then some are saying he was ex-military. Like I said, there's too many stories going around, so there's not enough facts to give y'all. So, as time goes on, I guess more facts will come out and people will find out. But here's the problem I've had, and I've always said this, and I can't, stress this more. And this is towards the ladies, and I'm not blaming the women at all, right? Let me be clear. Do I think the situation would have happened the same way? No, and I'm going to tell you what I mean. I'm not blaming the woman, saying that it is her fault, because the guy came there with malice on his heart. That's a fact, right? So let's just keep that there. But ladies, women, if you have a boyfriend, a husband, or whatever, and there's a situation where, or even brothers, and there's a situation where you're about to be in an escalated situation with another man, right? And I'm talking to the women. If there's a situation that feels like it's going to escalate, or argument or something like that will ensue, do not argue with any man. Listen, can women defend themselves against men? Of course they can. But there is a high chance that there is no win for you in that situation, right? Because you getting involved into in an argument with a man changes the dynamic dramatically, right? And I'm going to tell you what I mean with this situation in particular. Like I said in the beginning, she came out and she was having words with the man, right? Now, what would the situation have been is if instead of her coming out into the hallway and having the back and forth with that man, if she had stayed in the house, when she opened the door and saw the man standing there, just close back the door and tell her husband, hey, this guy, he's out there or whatever, or just wait till her husband's ready. Because when he first came to the door, he wasn't dressed. He went back in, he had to put on clothes to come back out. So it's like, what would the situation have been any different if she had just waited and let the two men deal with it, right? Would it had ended the same way? Nobody knows, right? We can't tell the future. But there's a high chance that a lot of times it could have, right? And I say this meaning there's a lot of times when a woman would get involved in an argument with a man. If the two men were able to speak first, sometimes men could, even though it might seem escalated, can come to some kind of resolve. Even though it's a high escalated argument or whatever, but they can come to some kind of resolve and end amicably and everybody go their way, right? The dynamic change when the woman is getting involved, and now that man now has to protect the woman and still deal with the situation, right? You have and I've seen this so many times I've seen this where, woman gets into an argument with a man. The man starts calling her out of her name, all kinds of B's and hoes and all this other stuff. And now the dude her man now comes over and like, yo, like, what's up? And it's, he's like, yo, like, what's going on? Trying to check the situation. And now, oh, he called me Baze Boss. So now you got to defend that situation where it really, between men, it really could have been resolved. Right? I don't know any other way to express it. Right? And like I said, do they have women who can defend themselves? Yes. I mean, like, but how many Ronda Rouseys do we have that's out there randomly? Right? There's not a lot. Let's be honest. That's not chauvinist. That's not. It is a high chance you get into a squabble or escalated argument with the man as a woman, you're going to come out on the losing end. That's just a fact. That's not chauvinist. That's not, none of that. It's the truth. It's the truth, and it would escalate. I mean, we live in a time where everything is on the internet. You've seen it 100 times. I watched one time with my own eyes. This is not even on the internet. I watched one time in a club some girls arguing with a guy. The guy tried to walk away. He was arguing with one. Her girlfriends got involved, so now it was four of them in total. So four women and one guy. And he wasn't a big guy at all. He had a little height, might have been 6 feet tops. You know what I mean? 5'10", 6 feet. Wasn't a big guy, wasn't, but he wasn't frail or anything. And these four women are now berating him, right? Now they're walking behind him, and he's walking away. He's flagging them off. He's like, yo, whatever, whatever. I don't want to deal with y'all. F y'all, blah, 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 blah. And he's walking off. And they're still pushing. And one goes behind him and pushes him on the shoulder. He turns around and, like, super fast, and she jumps back, and he just, like, kind of, like, laughed it off, like, psst, like, whatever. Now he's off the sidewalk and walking in the street towards his car. They follow him like, going across the street. Now they're in the middle of the street. Two of them now come over, and they're pulling at his shirt and stuff. And while pulling at his shirt, they pop his chain. He turns around, and he punches one. She's immediately knocked out. The friends now rile up, and they're all coming, but, they're trying to figure out what they, and he's like, yo, just chill. Long story short, he got in his car with all four of them knocked out on the floor. Now, was that a good thing? No, but this is what I'm saying. It is very rare that you as a woman are going to go up against a man and you're going to come out on the winning end. I know wow, I've had plenty of fights with dudes or whatever. I know how to use my hands, my brother. That's fine and dandy. Great. But a lot of you chicks, let me be careful, a lot of you women are getting men killed because y'all don't know how to handle a situation with a man. Right? And what I mean by that is you go and you have these escalated arguments with men, right? And then now you want to go call a man to come handle a situation. Whereas it could have been completely different. The man starts arguing with you, whatever it is. Yo, you know what? Say no more. Get quiet. Make your phone call. Hey, such and such, this is what's happening, right? Let the guy level-headed. Don't escalate it on the phone either. Tell it exactly how it is. Say what you said. Say whatever the situation is. Be as clear, direct as possible. Don't escalate it. Oh, this guy. Don't don't put all the extra sauce on it, right? Yo, that's what happened? All right, let me get there. So he now knows how serious this situation is. He knows what he's walking into. When you put all the extra sauce, he's coming with a certain kind of energy that's on 12, right? Where it really might not have needed to be. He just needed to come and defend you, make sure everything was okay, and things could have been quelched and everybody could have left safe. But you went and put the extra sauce over the phone now, and now he shows up, right, on 12, and now he's the one that ends up losing his life. I've seen that 1,000,001 times. Girls escalate situations, call these dudes, then the dudes come over, don't know what they're coming into because you only telling them about the one guy you had a problem with and not telling them that, yo, he's with 6 other goonies. So he came prepared for one and he got 5 extra that he got to deal with. Right? Gun or no gun, bro, I've seen it. I've seen a dude show up, 6 dudes on the block. He was not prepared. Before he can pull out his joint, he was on the floor knocked out, and they took his joint from him and his car. Drove off with his car and his burner. Seen it firsthand, right? So back to the storyline though. But like I said, I can't say that situation would have been different. What I'm saying is it could have been different. Just stay out of that lane. There's no need. I was having a conversation. I was watching a pod, and I was trying to find it because I wanted to big them up. But it was a quick clip on. It was either Twitter or Instagram, and I couldn't remember the name of the pod. It was an all-girl pod. If anybody watches this and knows what I'm talking about, send it to me in my email so I can big them up in the name in the description later on down the line and give them their shout out and their props. But it was spot on, and they were spot on. So it was an all female pod, and they had people like write in, and a girl, I guess she wrote in or called in or something like that, and she was giving a storyline saying that she was leaving the club and like a dude slapped her butt or whatever, and she called her man, and her man told her to get in the car and leave, right? And I guess she felt some kind of way that he wasn't like wilding on the phone or whatever. But I think, later on he might have showed up or whatever. But that's neither here nor there. The girls, the women who were on that pod reply were perfect. They was like, yes, girl, exactly. You called your man for a reason, and he gave you the answer. Follow it. No matter how you feel, you did the right thing. Immediately jump on the phone with your man. Your man tells you to get in the car. You called him for a reason. He gave you the resolution. Get in the car, leave. Let me handle it. Because there's nothing you can do. If a dude is brave enough to slap you in the butt in the street, then he's already off his rocker. You don't know what's on his mind, right? I don't even want to get into, anybody that's from New York knows what I'm talking about. Like, back in the 90s, right? Back in the early 90s and stuff, anybody that was in Brooklyn and knew the 4 and 5 train and what used to go on the 4 and 5 train and the C train, A train, during rush hour when the trains were crowded, come on. Sickos on the train, trying to accost the women or accost the women. Like it was ridiculous. Broad daylight, rush hour on a public train. You know what I'm saying? And keep in mind, we're not even in the. It's the truth, and it's gonna sound messed up, but it's the truth. We're not even in the era of men right now. I said it. We're not even in the proper era. We're not even in the era of proper men, right? And I've said it before. All males are not men, right? There's a difference. Early 90s, like I said, I've done it myself. You see a woman in distress, you come to her aid, right? Now, good luck. Men would sit around and watch you get thrown around and thrashed and wig thrown up in the air, all kinds of clothing ripped and all that. And they'll stand there and giggle with their phone out because, they're going to get the next viral clip. It's about the likes. It's sickening, but it's true. That's where we live at. That's where we at now. Think about, if I'm wrong, think about how many video clips you've watched of a woman and a man going at it, and the woman is clearly, absolutely clearly losing this battle horribly, right? And you hear the giggling in the background, and you realize that and you start looking in the background of the videos, and you start realizing, like, yo, it's 90% men standing around watching this recording. And then it's always one old dude, one older cat, one man of age that would cut through the crowd. What y'all doing? And be the one to try and part it. Right? We are not in the age of men, ladies, and I don't want to prove a lot of y'all right, because the narrative that's been being put out as of late, I think with that you have to give, when you put in out a narrative of how men are with women or whatever, you have to, it's unfair, or the relationships between men and women, it's unfair when you don't also include era and age, right? Because a 20-year-old, let's just say like a 25-year-old in 2023 is not the same 25-year-old in 1994, right? The 25-year-old in 1994 would see a dude hitting on her and immediately grab her. Yo, what you doing, man? Get your hands off that woman, man. What's wrong with you, man? Grow up. It's a woman, bro. Relax yourself. You might even knock him out for the young lady. Now, that dude is just thinking, yo, I record this. I'm gonna make a YouTube page. It's gonna go viral. I'm gonna get some likes. I'm gonna start getting paid. Or I'm gonna send it to World Star, and I'm gonna get paid. Like, it's all about the likes and clicks now. It's not the same kind of man. Do you have males that are men today? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And a lot of them have great values of today, so it's not all of them. But when you're having those kind of conversations, you have to include era and age, because you can't have the same conversation about a male or a man from this day and age compared to back in the day. And I know I sound like some old school, old dude shit, but our morals and values were completely different. I say that even when it comes to street shit. I've said it before. There was a point in time where, I can have the utmost beef with you, but if I seen you walking with your family, bro, eye to eye, homie, give you the nine, you got to pass. I got to give you that. You with your family, with your little girl, your son, whatever, you got to pass. You with your moms, you got to pass, man. But you know what it is when I see alone, it's up. Nowadays, I watched a video and I talked about it on the pod. I watched a video, I think it was Chicago. The guy was crossing the street. He had a 4-year-old daughter, bro. That was one of the saddest videos I've watched in a long time. And I watched that a couple of years ago, and still to this day, that bothers me. Bothers me immensely. Like, he was crossing the street, had his 4-year-old daughter, never seen it coming. The dude ran up and put 2 shots in his head. Everybody ran in the streets. The little girl is just jumping up and down, screaming. Doesn't even understand what just happened. Just knows that her dad hit the floor, the loud noise or whatever. She's frightened half to death. 4-year-old little girl, right? So all that to say is, when these relationships and conversations are happening, yeah, you got to give it's a big part. You got to give some clarity about, age and era, because that plays a huge part in the conversation, right? Another thing too I want to touch on, man. Listen, ladies, and this I know it's gonna sound like I'm dogging women out this whole pod, but listen, and this is the truth, because it seems like the internet getting more and more involved into people's relationships, right? And for the ladies, I'm gonna say this, man, like, and this is an ongoing thing. This has been going on since the beginning of time, right? This conversation that I'm about to speak on. If you're in a relationship, stop taking advice from your single friends. It don't make sense. How could your friend, who has little to no little to no experience with a long-term relationship, give you advice in a relationship that you've been in for 2 years or more? Within that 2 years, that single friend that you've had has maybe just a few jump offs, or has had like 3, 4 boyfriends within the same time you've been with the same one. Right? How does that work? What would make more sense is to find more, like, if you've been with somebody for 2 years and you have questions, or you feel like you want to take advice from the people who've been in relationships 10 or more. That makes more sense. That's where you will go to get your information, from the experience, not from the non-experience. That don't make sense. I can't learn to drive from somebody who never drove before. How they gonna teach me if they never they never did it? It don't make sense. I don't understand why I do it. It goes for men too. Fellas, yeah, not far behind. Y'all dudes are in it with these, like, and this is true shit. Fellas, if you're married, you can't take advice from your boy who's only been with his girlfriend, even though he might have been with her for a long time. The marriage and girlfriend dynamic is completely different. You can walk out of that girlfriend, walk away from that girlfriend, no problem. You can't just walk out of your marriage. It's not that simple. It's not just alimony. It's just not that simple. To walk away from a marriage as easy it is to walk away from your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Stop taking advice from these people with no experience. Talk to experienced people. You know, the whole new thing is, oh, fix your credit or whatever. You going to go have somebody who has poor credit to fix your credit. So they got a 430, and you think that they're gonna help you get a 700? Is that where we at? Is that the thought process? Because if it is, you're a psychopath, and I don't want to meet you. You're a psychopath. I don't want to meet you. I don't want to be around nothing like you. All right? Talk to experienced people, man. But when you are in a marriage, right? There's certain ties that you have that are not so easily broken, right? There's certain conversations that you have that, when you're married, when you hear non-married people talking, you're like, they have no idea. It's kind of like You know how people say, "Oh, that person is woke," right? When you're married and you hear non-married people talking, you're like, "Yo, man, you have no idea what you're talking about." And sometimes it's just so silly that you just have to leave it alone. At least I do. When I hear conversations so stupid, like really silly conversations, I am really good to walk off. I walk off at the drop of a dime. I have no problem with that. I walk off. I have nothing to say to you. I have nothing to add. Because it it's stupid. And if I really deem you as stupid, you know what? There's so much things, man. I wanna like this past couple of weeks it's just been so much. You know, I think the next topic I'm gonna save it for the next pod because I wanted to touch on this deadbeat dad thing. You know, it's been bothering me for a little while now. You know, this conversation about deadbeat dads and all these women complaining, and then, you have men talking about deadbeat mothers out there and the ratio between and all this other stuff. I'm going to touch on that, but I'm going to touch on that on the next pod. Not this one. Not this one. I'm going to keep this one light. Usually keep them a little short and tight. But for the most part, I think I covered everything I wanted to talk about. Um, Jada, just to tie everything up. So Jada's book went brick, right? Thank goodness for that. The sad situation with the family in Brooklyn. Uh, I send my condolences out from you know myself, my family to theirs. I don't know them personally at all, but my condolences to them and their family, and I wish them well. Um, Touched on ladies, staying out of these arguments with men or males, because it's really a no win battle. Another thing I want to touch on the next pod too, the next episode is besides the deadbeat dad, it was a weird conversation happened the other day, and I was like, it was dealing with the whole academics thing. That's how it started. Those who don't know what I'm referring to, so academics is having a little tiff with one of the I forgot his name, but I don't know what I know he's gay. I know that, but I don't know if he's considered trans. I don't know what pronoun or noun he's using. So I don't want to say the wrong thing, but the Saucy Santana guy. And apparently academics had some strong words for Saucy Santana. Saucy Santana had some strong words for him. And in between that conversation, the back and forth, Saucy Santana said he would knock him out and, perform a sexual act on on academics, right? Trying to be respectful with the audience because I know sometimes people are listening to this like in their car or something, and your kid is in the background. So I try to be watch my words. When I officially, oh, and that's not. Well, let me finish this thought. But he Saucy Santana said that he would knock academics out and perform a sexual act that on academics, meaning like a sexual act that he would be unwilling to take. Get me? For those who are listening and not watching, wink, wink, right? So now people are like, well, oh, it's a double standard because if a man was to say that to a woman, right, it would be he would be not just canceled, but he'd be thrown under the bus. That would be a harassment, assault, verbal assault. All these charges would come up, but because of his pronouns, so to speak, he's allowed to get away with it and say it, and vice versa. Because if Academics was to say that to Saucy Santana, that he would knock him out and do this act to him, then that would be considered a hate crime. And I mean, there's I would like to dive into it more. I don't know. I might add somebody to have that conversation. You know what I mean? Just so it's just not my words. I want to get some other people in to have that kind of conversation. But I'll save that for the next episode. But I think for now we covered everything I wanted to cover for today, right? Well, with that said, listen, I'm going to end this one quick and early. I've held you long enough, but as I always say, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. I appreciate you, and remember, drink water. All right? Peace.